In the echoing silence of that historical night, adrift in the frigid North Atlantic, a promise was made. It was a whisper against the deafening roar of fate, a flicker of warmth in the encroaching cold. We're going back to April 14th, 1912, aboard the RMS Titanic. But not just to recount the tragedy. We're here to uncover a story of love, a story of two hearts beating as one against the backdrop of one of history's most profound disasters. This isn't just about the iceberg or the sinking ship. This is about what happens when human connection is all you have left, when a single touch, a whispered word, becomes an anchor in a world turned upside down. Imagine the scene. The grand staircases, once alive with laughter and music, are now tilted and treacherous. The opulent dining rooms, where dreams were toasted just hours before, are now gateways to the icy depths. Panic is a living thing, a shadow that dances with the flickering lights. Yet, amidst this chaos, two figures find each other. Let's call them Arthur and Eleanor. They weren't from the first-class suites. They were travelers with modest hopes, their dreams as vast as the ocean around them. They had met on the crossing, their connection immediate, a spark of recognition that transcended social class and circumstance. Their days were filled with stolen glances on the promenade deck and quiet conversations under the stars, planning a future that felt as unsinkable as the ship they were on. But now, the unsinkable was sinking. The deck slanted violently, the screams of twisted metal a horrifying symphony of destruction. People were scrambling, families being separated. The ordered world of the great liner collapsing into primal fear. In this maelstrom, Arthur searched frantically for Eleanor. He wasn't thinking about a lifeboat for himself. His only thought was her. He finally spotted her near the stern, her face pale in the dim emergency lighting, her eyes wide with a fear that mirrored his own. Pushing through the terrified crowd, he reached her, his hand closing over hers. For a moment, the chaos receded. There was only the feeling of her hand in his, a small, tangible piece of certainty in a world gone mad. It was in this suspended moment, with destiny looming, that the promise was made. It wasn't a grand, poetic declaration. It was something far more powerful, born of desperation and profound love. He looked into her eyes, the icy wind whipping her hair across her face, and said, "Find me in New York. No matter what happens, find me." It wasn't a question. It was a command, an act of faith. He was telling her that she had to survive, that their story wasn't over. He pressed a small, worn locket into her palm. "This will guide you," he whispered, his voice cracking. She could only nod, tears streaming down her cheeks, her grip on his hand tightening as if she could physically hold back the inevitable. This promise was their resistance. In a moment where death was a near certainty, they chose to speak of life. While the very foundations of their world were giving way, they built a bridge to the future with just a few words. This is the essence of love as a form of defiance. It doesn't deny the darkness. It lights a candle within it. It doesn't ignore the fear. It gives you a reason to fight through it. Every fiber of their being was screaming in terror, but their love for each other screamed louder, demanding hope, demanding survival. To them, survival wasn't just about breathing. It was about keeping the promise, about reaching that shore and finding each other again. The chaos soon tore them apart. A surge of the crowd, the lurch of the ship, and his hand was ripped from hers. We know the historical account of what happened next. The ship's final, agonizing plunge into the abyss. The desperate cries from the water, slowly fading into an eerie silence under a blanket of brilliant, indifferent stars. Over 1,500 souls were lost that night, each a story cut short. Eleanor found herself on one of the last lifeboats, a ghost among the living, clutching the locket in her hand so tightly her knuckles were white. The promise was all she had left of him, a single, burning ember in the frozen wasteland of her grief. Did they reunite? History often leaves these personal stories in the footnotes, lost to the grander narrative of the disaster. But the power of their promise isn't contingent on a happy ending. Its power lies in the moment it was made. It was a testament to the human spirit's incredible capacity for hope, even when faced with impossible odds. It was an assertion that love is not a luxury for peaceful times, but a vital necessity for survival. That in the darkest hour, our connections to each other are the truest lifeboats we have. The promise transformed Eleanor's ordeal from a simple struggle for survival into a mission. She wasn't just staying alive, she was staying alive for him, for them. This story forces us to look beyond the cold statistics of the Titanic. It invites us into the heart of the tragedy, to feel the chill of the water and the warmth of a hand, to hear the whisper of a promise over the roar of disaster. It reminds us that history is not just about dates and events, it's about people. People who loved, who dreamed, and who, in their final moments, found the strength to hope. Arthur and Eleanor, whether real figures or archetypes of the countless stories lost to the sea, represent the enduring power of a promise made in the dark. It's a love story that resists the ending written by fate, insisting that even in loss, love's ego can last forever. Their story is a powerful reminder for all of us. In our own lives, when we face our own storms, maybe not as literal as the sinking of a great ship, but just as terrifying, our connections are our strength, the promises we make, the love we share. These are the forces that give us the courage to face the darkness. The legacy of that night is not just one of tragedy, but also one of incredible bravery and profound love. It's the story of a promise, a beacon of hope shining out from the heart of the Atlantic, reminding us that even in the deepest darkness, love can find a way to light the path forward. Their story didn't end when the ship went down. It became immortal, a part of the enduring legend of the Titanic. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, please like, share, and subscribe for more journeys into the heart of history.